So this, in my opinion, is the thing to watch tomorrow with NFP coming out here with the EURUSD and the DXY. So we've talked about the December 2023 high for the EURUSD. And first and foremost, I do just want to say too, I want to get this out of the way, that a lot of times when I make these videos, I know a lot of people think that there's something to do, right? You should go buy, you should go sell, you should act on something, right? And the truth is that the majority of the time, there's really nothing to do except for just waiting to see what we get from these markets. And this is a perfect example of that, especially with non-farm payroll coming up, because you can expect volatility before the weekend. The last thing you want to do is go get into a position right before events like that, or even during events like that, because you are likely to get stopped out before the market even has a chance to move in your favor. So with that in mind, guys, we have talked about the December 2023 high here for the EURUSD. And I know I just talked about this in yesterday's video, right? But I want to talk about it again because we are seeing the market react to the top of this channel here that I've mentioned right around 111.20. So in yesterday's video, we talked about this level and how it intersects with a couple of these other areas up here. So looking at the daily, it looks like the market didn't really react to it too much today. However, if you go to the 4-hour time frame, you can see that right here on this candle, this was a pretty aggressive reaction from this area. In fact, the euro went from all the way up here, right around 111.20, all the way down to the session open. So it was a pretty aggressive intraday sell-off. Of course, the market has rebounded from that, but you can see where the market clearly reacted from this region. So this continues to be, guys, the one to watch here for the euro. If we move out, you can see where this up here was that sweep of the December 2023 high. And we also have the market now trading back within this channel. Okay, so we got the breakout, the close back below. It became resistance here and resistance once again today. Now, like I said a few minutes ago, though, this, in my opinion, is one of those cases where it's probably better to stay on the sideline, wait to see what we get with tomorrow's NFP. The last thing you want to do is go enter before NFP or before the weekend. So in my opinion, looking at the daily, we are, potentially looking at a sweep of today's high with tomorrow's NFP to really get a retest all the way up here in this area. And one reason I think that, and we'll talk about this on the DXY as well, because there's a similar pattern there. But if you look at this here on the 4-hour time frame, what you're going to notice is off of some of these lows back here, we've got a trend line off of these lows. And if you draw a parallel level across these two highs, so we talked about this in yesterday's video. However, if you see this here, right, you've got a little bit of room for the euro to move higher into this area tomorrow because you've got this parallel off of these two highs up here. So this region up here tomorrow is the one really to watch, in my opinion. Now, again, this is one of those cases, though, where it's probably better to watch for bearish price action, wait to see what kind of reaction you get up here before you make any decisions. Now, looking at the DXY, there is a very similar structure here looking at the 4-hour chart. So first, looking at the daily, we know that this area down here is critical support for the US dollar index being that December 2023 low. So from here, we have the potential for the US dollar index making a higher low, but the jury is still out on that because right now you can see where the market is once again breaking back within this consolidation back here. Okay, so we saw the breakout above that, and now it's right back within this consolidation. So in my opinion, what this is going to come down to, very similar to the euro, essentially the inverse of that. If you look here off of these highs up here, okay, and you draw a parallel level down here off of this low, if the DXY is going to make a higher low, in my opinion, it's going to have to do that from this area down here, right around 100.8 to 100.9. That's going to be a critical area because if you look at this on the 8-hour time frame, for example, okay, you've got these highs up here. Okay, so all of these highs through here, you've got this high and you've got this low. And you've also got this consolidation back here. So if the DXY is going to give us a higher low, it is most likely to occur from this area tomorrow during NFP. Now, if we see the DXY closing below this following NFP, okay, closing below this next week, then we are likely looking at a run down here toward 99.6 before we see a more significant bounce from the US dollar. And that's really critical because it's something we've talked about in the past here for the DXY, simply because when you look at the daily chart or any higher time frame here, you can see that we do have some symmetry down here in this area based on this parallel channel. Okay, so off of these highs up here, we have a descending level. draw a parallel off of this December 2023 low, you get an intersection down here right around 99.6 because that's also the 2023 low. Okay, so you can see back here, this was also the 2023 low. So the bottom line here is that if the DXY starts to trade below 100.6 specifically, then that would open up 99.6. But if we see strength from the US dollar following NFP tomorrow, okay, that's going to be key. Following NFP tomorrow, then we could be looking at something like this here, okay, for the DXY going into next week with that bounce back toward the 102 area. All right, so again, for the DXY, it's going to come down to this area down here. And for the EURUSD, it's going to come down to the area between 111.20 and 111.40.